The taxi pulled over, and I craned my neck, looking up at the huge church rising from the hill above us to my left. It looked like the pictures. The river bisecting the city ran to my right.
Grossmünster,
the driver said in German.
Are you sure you want to be dropped here?
It was long past dark, and there were very few people out on the streets. Yes, I'll be fine, I told him as I pulled my backpack and suitcase out of the trunk. I had a set of directions to get to my destination by car, but they were written in English, so I couldn't show them to the taxi driver, whose English was worse than my German. Even with a map, I found it hard to make sense of them. The streets in the old city were a maze. The other set of directions, in German, would take me on foot from Grossmünster, which seemed much simpler. I paid him, shouldered the backpack, and dragged the roller bag after me as I climbed the ramp up to the church. The directions on the paper I held glowed faintly in the dark while I wound through the narrow streets of the old city. The last turn took me into a steep, narrow alley. Not really an alley, but a street for walking, too narrow for cars. Amelia had told me the name for such streets was Gasse, or Gassen, in the plural. The city was, to say the least, a very unique experience. Before I got on the plane the day before, I had never flown or even been outside of Colorado. Compared to Queen City, where I grew up, Zurich felt ancient. Stone buildings lined narrow streets, and every sign I saw was in German. At the end of the Gasse was a small square, or Platz, with a fountain. Around the square, the ground floors of the buildings contained small shops, with a cafe at the far end, where tables were set outside. To my right, the building looked like it might be apartments, with many bicycles chained to an iron railing in front of it. Turning around, I faced an interesting building. It was triangular. The street I had walked up had a twin on the other side. From my vantage point, the triangle was truncated, with windows facing the square. Between the windows, where one might expect a door, there was only a solid slab of wall. The dimly lit interior looked like a restaurant, but if it was, there was no sign to attract diners. The windows on the second story were set back, and there was a shallow terrace with plants growing in boxes around the railing. Above that floor was a dormer window, probably an attic, like the one I'd lived in for more than a year. I chuckled, wondering if that would be my new room. Hopefully it was heated.